Grace, mercy, and peace to you all in the name of God our Father, our Lord and Savior Jesus. Amen. Will you join me in a word of prayer? Lord God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day in your creation. We thank you for the opportunity to especially be here and to worship. Lord, may the songs we sing, may as we experience your love here in this day, may the song be in our mouths into the world this night. Lord, we ask that we be people who worship in all that you have to give. In your name, Jesus. Amen. So, I'm doing something a little different today, working with one of the readings, working with Psalm 42. I rarely preach on the Psalms, and I don't know why. I rarely preach on the Psalms. They're really good. Psalms are wonderful things. You all know that already. Psalm 42 is actually kind of the entryway for me, because what I want to do this year, what I want to talk about in worship, what I want to have for us in worship is a greater understanding of why we worship. Why do we worship? Why do the people of God join together in worship? This has come out of some long conversations about what happens in worship, and we should better explain that. We'll get to that at some point. But why do we worship? What is the thing of worship that we are doing, and why do we have this? And so I want to talk about a bunch of things in worship over the course of the rest of the year. The theme is kind of the real present God in worship, and so we're gonna talk more about it. But today we're going to start with this verse, with Psalm 42, 1 through 8, and just how that is working here for us. And what Psalm 42 really talks about is longing. Longing for God. And how do you and I experience this longing that is out there in the world for us? How many of you have longed for anything ever at any point, at some point? Like 5 of you, a few of you. Okay, good. One of the things that I kind of constantly harp on, media, like advertisements, are designed to produce longing in you, right? You live in this world in which you are constantly assaulted by the advertisements to have longing, to long for something which you do not have or which is better than what you have already. To experience longing, at least in the Western culture, is this kind of universal experience for us. We have longing for stuff. We have longing for things, and you have it, and I have it, and we all are kind of better when we just acknowledge that is actually there. But there is something more to our longing. You can, here in this life, achieve vast quantities of wealth, and yet find, after you've gotten up to the place where you thought you needed to be, after you've gotten to the success that you needed to have, that it's still empty and meaningless. And so there's a longing for something more that exists in your life than exists in my life. There's a desire, a longing for meaning. That your life would have meaning. A longing for purpose and direction. A longing for connection with other people. Maybe that's a spouse, maybe that's children, maybe that's just communities that gather around you in Jesus. However that is, there's that longing that exists there. And there's a longing that exists for God. See, the thing with longing, and the thing that we're going to look at in Psalm 42 with longing, is that longing is something that, as much as we, on some level, as Christians, we might object to the longings that exist out here into the world. Longing is something that is happening as God intended. God has intended for you to long after Him, to desire Him. And that there are lots of other things that are out there that we find ourselves longing for, but that God says, I am the ultimate source, I am the ultimate place of your longing. How does that work? That's what we're gonna see. You have in Psalm 42, if you turn to Psalm 42, you have that very first verse in Psalm 42. It's right there in the bulletin. I want you to just read that out loud with me, because it's the expression of what God has intended. It is the expression that the psalmist is taking on what it is to be a person here in this world, to finally have the right direction, the right place for his longing. And so let's read it together. As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. Now most of you don't go up to streams and pant for them, right? But you've all been thirsty. You've had the thirsty experience. You've had that moment. You can go to the faucet or the drinking fountain and get your water. A deer, is out there in the wilderness and it looks at a stream of living water. It also knows that there are predators that are around it. And so it will sit there in the thicket and it will look and it will see what's out there. Who else is out here at the drinking hole? Right? And then they'll look and they'll look and they'll look and they'll often wait for an extended period of time, thirsty, waiting to go to the water, longing for that water that they see. And this is what the psalmist is recording, and this is what the psalmist says. This is your soul. This is you, thirsty, thirsty people. This is humanity, thirsty, thirsty people. The reason why advertising works is because we are thirsty. We want something to fill us. We want something to satisfy us. Lots of times people find it in things that do not satisfy. And the psalmist here says, your longing is right. The longing instinct is right, but it is an instinct that God has created in you for Him. So we have this prayerful lament in Psalm 42. There's the understanding this psalm is written while the psalmist is in some sort of exile. That the psalmist used to go to the temple. The psalmist used to be in a place of worship. The psalmist used to sing, that's how we say it here. He used to sing and shout his joy and praise, and he used to do all of that. And now he's in some place where he's surrounded by people who are saying to him, "Where is your God?" And the psalmist is sad. The psalmist, he's downcast. He knows the object of his longing, but he can't get there. He can't access it. It's too far away. It's history. It's something else. And so the psalmist is downcast in his soul. What do you do when you're downcast in your soul? He remembers this worship, remembers this joy, remembers this praise. And he longs. That's what you do. He longs for his God. He longs to be closer to his God. What worship is, and what we have in worship, and what we try to do in worship, and one of the reasons why we even bother to worship, is to experience that longing for this closeness of God together. That God, your bodies creak and they ache, they suffer, your soul is crushed on a repeated basis through all sorts of things, and you long for the moment where God in Jesus Christ will come and make all things right. And we worship because we want to express that longing. Jesus, come and make all things right. Help us, Lord, to be closer. Help us to find the ultimate place of closeness. And so we seek in our longing. We seek with a purpose. We seek out this God with this purpose that God, you are the one who can quench our thirst. The psalmist, as he continues, he says, verse 2, my soul thirsts for the living God. Where can I go and meet with God? And so you have this water already. And then in verse 7, since deep calls to deep in the roar of your waterfalls, all your waves and breakers have swept over me. There is a flood. There's a saturation that exists. It's like Thursday night about 9 o'clock after the storms come through, and my yard's on a lake, at least a swimming pool, right? And it's that level of saturation. It's even more than that, but it's that picture that the psalmist wants you to have, that there's a place where the dryness and the need, the thirst gets quenched, and that place is in God. And so seek after him with this purpose. Seek after this Jesus with this purpose, that for the dryness of your life, for the dryness of your soul, for this, there, and only there, only in him, and only truly in the day of his return. But in these moments before him, the glimpse and the taste of this feast to come. Worship is the experience of these moments of being saturated in him. That God desires you who live in this dryness, who live with these longings, who live with all of these things, to find finally the place where your longings go, the object of your desire. To name him, to speak him, to call out to him and say, God, in my longing, you are all and only you. As we worship, as you worship, as you think on why you show up, sometimes out of obligation, out of duty, out of habit, out of all sorts of other reasons, but think on the worship, the opportunity to worship, having the worship as this moment to be saturated in God. That in Jesus there is this torrential downpour of the love of God. And so the psalmist in verse 8 says, by day the Lord directs his love, and at night his song is with me, a prayer to the God of my life. Saturated in Jesus. Saturated in this God. That's what we get to be. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to worship, to reflect on worship, and what it means to be people who worship in this day. Lord, as the psalmist experiences his longing, as we go forth from this place and experience all the longings that we will experience, and we'd ask, Lord, that we be reminded that truly what our soul is looking for, what we are truly thirsty for, is you. Help us, Lord, to see how you give. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.